Okay, we're back at the EB-5 Investor Magazine and U Global event, and one of the biggest benefits to being here is that we actually get to have our whole team together, finally in the flesh, post-COVID, everyone together in the same room, no more Zoom, no more Teams, no more little box people. I got real human beings with me, and I wanted to introduce everyone. Greg Sheehan, one of our partners and our direct investment relations, and a former USCIS adjudicator, and just wanted to chat with you a little bit about EB-5 and life behind the scenes at USCIS, because a lot of people don't get a very good look behind the curtain. So this is an opportunity to share a little bit about a day in the life.
Yeah.
And now that you have come to the light, working in the private sector instead of government, we are welcoming you with open arms and happy to have you. But Greg Sheehan, here we go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here and actually see you in person. We work so hard behind the scenes, and I'm so excited to be part of this team, see how hard you guys work. You really show that you are taking your leadership position in the EB-5 space very seriously.
Big news, right toward the end of the time at USCIS, the RIA policy comes out.
Yeah.
When you see that text versus the old program, what do you think the biggest improvement is from the life of the adjudicator looking at new policy?
It's a good question. So from the adjudicator's point of view, I think that we now compared to, we then, right? No, I think the office should be excited because there's a lot more attention in terms of being compliant. And that's important for an adjudicator to have faith in the program. You don't want to have a negative skew with every file that you pick up. You want to be part of something that's bigger than just you and your stamp. You want to be supporting the economy in an incredible way, and that adds morale, and that gets you up every morning wanting to do a good job. And I think that's probably my number one. Joining IPO was challenging because the initial training was, all right, people are going to see what you do and say there's scams involved. You're already on the point of view where you're saying, well, I don't want scams. Is this file a scam that's going to get past me? No, not today, right?
So, here at the event, we're seeing a lot of different projects, a lot of different professionals, and there's a lot of different options. And like some of them, you're seeing direct projects, and then you're seeing a lot of regional center projects. Right. As an adjudicator, when you get two files, if one's a direct and one's indirect, what is different about those to an adjudicator?
So the regional center filing is generally going to have the project already vetted by an economist. So they're going to look at the job creation, they're going to look at the business plan to see if it's credible per matter of hoe. They're going to make sure that the inputs are actually verified with paper and not just thought. And they're going to get to the point where they're ready to give that regional center adjudication to the batch of stampers who are only going to look at source of funds at that point, where the direct investment, now I have to look at the job creation, I have to look at matter of hoe analysis to define credibility within that paperwork. And you have an investor who thinks that their project is credible, but it might not be EB-5 compliant in terms of job creation and sustainment. And there becomes a problem as an adjudicator when you see somebody just get something wrong and you try to tell them with an RFE and they tell me I'm wrong. We have a denial brewing. And this is a problem because now a denial could potentially push them away from citizenship and into deportation. And that's going to impact their family. They're going to be looking at a business that they don't want anymore. They're going to try to get their capital out. And it just, again, this negative spiral, there's a lot of risk with direct. But direct creates a lot of jobs in certain areas. Like, it has value. It just scares me when I see some of these come in. A lot of the best attorneys work with regional centers, as we know. There are great attorneys that work with direct projects. But some of these that come in, you can just tell when you look at it. There's a problem here, and the problem is major. When it comes to frequently asked questions, Greg, you're a former adjudicator. What's taking so long? What's really happened? One of the things that I should raise as a starting point is that, unlike other components within the executive branch, USCIS is fee-based. So they run and operate like a business. They pay for services based on the benefit requests and the income that comes with all these filings across the country. They figure out how to pay different components, whether it's the humanitarian benefit requests that are generally free. The way that they mix the soup can be challenging, and we've seen with the recent fee proposals that they're really trying to go over the top by taking money from the EB-5 and employment-based benefit requesters. They're trying to get money back from 2016, but let me just remind everybody that because they operate like a business, COVID did not treat them lightly. They got to the point where people were choosing to pay rent instead of filing their N-400 And as receipts went down, we saw that administratively, the cost of adjudications went up as more vetting people were hired. The cost of actually completing an adjudication without raising the fees, there was no offset between the increased cost and what the output would actually look like. And now you had this negative spiral. When you take that into account, you can start to see where these huge processing times actually come from. In addition to that, we had a program lapse. We had to figure out what to do as we were losing people. We didn't have the type of budget that we needed to hire enough people to meet the benefit request mountain that was growing. With all these negative components happening at the same time, what happened behind the curtain was these morale issues. You've got people leaving. You've got managers who are trying to keep people efficient when the money's not coming in, and people are worried about getting furlough notices again. So naturally, people left USCIS, people left IPO, and now that they're actually trying to recover, they're integrating scanning to try to get the 829 filings to be competitive and to be in line with the mandate of Congress to be done in, 90, 180 days? They're going to get to that point, but it's the government. It's not the private sector. With patience, we'll see them get there. It's just a question of how long it will actually take.
Okay, Greg, thank you so much. Good to see you in person, live in the flesh, and everything else. So we'll